Everyone, have you ever wanted to take something as simple as a napkin like this and as plain as a hat like this and create your own unique fashion statement like this? Well, today I'm going to show you how to do just that. I'm going to show you how to take a napkin and decoupage it onto a hat and create your own unique fashion piece.
Before we go any further, I'm so excited because I'm working on something I think would really interest you. If you're a crafter looking for a way to make extra money, or if you're a course instructor already and you're looking for new ideas, I'm creating a class in which you can use a pre-made video to instruct people as to how to create the actual hat, not just the decorating of the hat, but step by step from scratch how to make these hats so that you can decorate them any way you want, like the ones shown here. And it's so much fun to do. And this course will have a video that's step by step that you don't even have to teach the students. You can play it for the students in your class and just guide them along. But also it will have the pattern and games and all kinds of fun. So if this is something that interests you, just comment in the box below, hat class, and also click the link so that I can notify you as soon as it becomes available. Now back to our project.
Right, so to begin, you're obviously going to need a cowboy hat like this. Now this one I've created using upcycle by taking packing paper like this and converting it into a hat like this. And if you want to learn more about this, stick around to the end of the video. But if you don't have a hat like this and you want to try this now, you can use this on a plastic hat or some fabric. Now you want to get napkins like these. Whatever napkin you choose, you want to start with that. And most of them fold out into 4 different squares, depending if it's a cocktail napkin or a big napkin like this one. So you can get quite a few flowers out of one napkin if you have a big one like this. But you want to cut it out, whichever flowers that you plan on using to decorate with. Now each of these usually has 3 layers. And once you cut out your actual flower to look like this, then you separate it into only one layer, the layer which has the ink printed on it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut this out. And as you're cutting, you can choose what you're going to leave on the napkin and what you're not. Some of these things are hard to cut around, like you see these little round things. I cut most of this off just to make it easier to apply the Mod Podge. I usually start by cutting around whatever I'm going to cut out, and then I work my way in around whatever I want to save from the pattern. And once you have your pattern cut out, these napkins usually come in 2 to 3 layers, and you want to make sure you get all the layers separated and just save the one with the print on top. Sometimes they're hard to get a hold of and separate. Now I'm going to cut out the other part that I'm going to use, and that's this little sunflower. And I have 2 of these that I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. And I'm going to save some of the leaf on here just to give it some different contrast. All right, so now when you have everything cut out that you actually want to put on your hat, you want to figure out the placement of how it's going to go on your hat. And to do that, you want to be looking at your hat straight on. So I'm showing you in the camera this, but in order to put it on, I'm going to need to face the front towards myself to see if somebody's looking at me, how are they going to see this hat when it's coming at them. Now, I want to make it look like the decoration's on the right side of my hat, but when I'm looking straight on at the hat, it's actually the left side of the hat. So you want to, if you want it to appear on the right side as you're wearing it, you need to put it on the left. So you want to kind of move things around and see what you think when you apply it, how you want it to sit, until you get it how exactly you want it to lay. Real quick, if you're enjoying this video, you can hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. And also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, if you hit subscribe and the bell, you will be notified of upcoming videos. And once you have it figured out how you want to place it, then we're going to start applying it with the Mod Podge. I can place how I think that I want it to lay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the Mod Podge underneath of where the pieces are going to go. Just applying the Mod Podge where this is going to go, over top of the twine, a little bit on the brim, a little bit up here on this center part of the hat. And then just going to start in the center and place it, and then just tap it up onto the twine, not really forcing it so that I don't tear my napkin, both over top of and beneath the twine. And then once I get it formed around where the twine goes, pressing out any air that might be underneath, I'm going to take some plastic wrap And I'm going to smooth the rest of the pattern to the edges to adhere it to the rest of the hat. And the plastic wrap helps it so that it doesn't stick to your finger or tear. Helps you smooth out the air bubbles underneath as you go. Okay, so that's pretty good, although I see a little bit of a gap there. So you want to make sure you get it all so that it stays on there. Just kind of smooth it to the edges. But you're going to put Mod Podge once it's dry over it to protect it and to seal it further anyway. But so we're going to move on and we're going to do the next one, the big one. So just like I did with the small one, I'm just going to apply the Mod Podge first on the hat itself, covering in the areas that I want the flower to stick to, especially over the twine. I want it to be coated because it's a little harder to stick on there. Using your judgment as to how much you put on there, not overdoing it. And then you want to do the same thing you did with the little one, figure out where do I want this to lay. In fact, I want this to lay up a little higher, so I'm going to add a little more Mod Podge up here. I want it to be part on the rim, but mostly up here for this big sunflower. So once I place it, I'm going to go ahead and again work with the twine first, because that's the most challenging part. Just kind of tapping it around the top and the bottom of the twine to knock out any air bubbles and to make it stick. Give it kind of a little crease above and below before you stick the rest of the flower. Now that I have it over the twine, I'm going to put a little bit over this little flower back here since it overlaps. I'm going to take my plastic wrap and begin smoothing it where I want it to lay. And if there's any areas you miss with the Mod Podge, you can go back and just gently apply that under there. Keep on smoothing from the center out to the edges until it lays flat. Now I'm about to apply my last flower, and so I'm going to go ahead and put the Mod Podge a little bit over top of the big flower where it's going to overlap, and then on the hat and on the twine. Being careful not to tear the big flower as you apply the Mod Podge. Starting at the center when you place it by the twine and work your way out, just like we did with the other two flowers. Looking at it, I probably should put it down here a little more, so I'm going to give it a more 3D look and add another one right here and just apply it right over top of the other one. If you're going to do a second layer, make sure that the Mod Podge dries from the first layer first. And sometimes you won't get the placement where you want it, so you do have to kind of tweak it a little. I put the second one on. I do like it a little better this way. What I decided to do is I want to give this kind of a rustic, antique look. So instead of it being solid white, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this burnt sienna and this raw umber. I'm just going to put a tiny drop of each, mix them together, because I couldn't decide whether I wanted one or the other with this hat. So I'm going to put the two together and see what happens. And I think that's going to look pretty good, that mixed color. So what I decided to do is just take these colors, mix them a little more, and add a little bit of water in here so that I can get a darker color, because I'm going to do a little bit of contrast swirling on this hat. See, this is not really as dark as I would like with a little bit darker glaze. I'm going to start in the back and test it. Just kind of wisping it. See how that's a little darker. I think I like that a little better. See how that's more antique looking? Gives us a little more rustic. If it's too dark in some areas, you could go back with your paper towel and blot it a little bit, try to even it out. Or if you want it to have some inconsistency, it gives a little bit more raw and rough look. Might have to blot a little bit, but I think I like the overall tone that this is turning out to be. Now I'll do the top. See how nice that's starting to look? And don't get it on your sunflower, just around it. so now that I have it on here, I'm going to dab a lot of the excess water off and just leave the color behind, and then let it dry. And then I'm going to add some of these dried florals to this side here to kind of balance out the design. All right, so I'm taking this dried wheat and I'm putting it on the hat, just trying to see how I would like for it to lay. Okay, so I tied the little string around there, and I'm going to kind of slide it a little bit and glue it right in the center. And then once it's actually secured, I'm going to slide it a little more, trim some of these edges off. All right, so I've applied the wheat on the side, and now I'm going to seal it all with this hard coat Mod Podge. And then I'm going to put several layers of this hard coat Mod Podge on it and let it dry in between each layer. This is going to help seal it and firm up the hat. So now that you know how to decoupage on the hat, don't forget, if you want to learn how to create the actual hat to decoupage on and even teach others and earn income doing it, get on that waiting list. All you have to do is write hat class in the comments and click on the link in the description box, and I'll add you to the wait list, and I will notify you the moment that it goes live. But thank you for watching today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.